What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast, a special Wind Down Wednesday edition where I'm enjoying a Mick Ultra and podcast dad. I don't know what he's drinking, but he's here and he looks upright and perky. How you doing, buddy?
I forgot we were doing that. Sorry. I forgot a drink.
We've only been doing this for like 3 months, dude.
It's been a long day, man. Leave me alone.
I know. You know
I'm
what?
here.
You're right.
I'm
You're
here,
right.
damn it. I'm here.
I drove through a snowstorm. You got headbutted by a child. It's fine. No big deal.
I did. It was rough. Bloody. I had blood. There's blood. She made me bleed my own blood.
No. Yeah. Well, your child's an evil genius in the making, according to you. So.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Anyway, welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast, guys. We have a special guest today. We are joined by the founder/promoter of the Phoenix Wrestling Experience, Cowboy James Hunter. James, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. We're always interested in hearing what's going on the indie scene. Before we get into everything, thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, hit that QR code in the top left corner. Make sure to like, make sure to share, make sure to subscribe. We're at 216 YouTube subscribers. If we can get to 220 by the weekend, I mean, I think that'd be pretty cool. So if you know one person that would enjoy this show, send them a link and let them check it out for themselves. We've got some great interviews coming this week. Thank you so much to Carmen Childers. Thank you so much to Skylar Ashwood. Thank you to Tiffany Avatar. Thank you to Hunter James, for joining us. Got a couple more that we're dropping. Would you not do that?
You're gonna get heat for that one. You're gonna get heat for that one, buddy.
Okay, that's fine. I'll live. All right. It's been a long day. It's fine. You want to start doing the intros now? You want to start doing this?
No, I do the outros.
Yeah, exactly. So calm your tits, all right?
This is a family show. Watch your mouth.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so James, let's get right on into it. Tell us a little bit about Phoenix Wrestling Experience. Before we went live, you were saying that this is the third show that you just recently completed?
Yeah, the third show we just recently completed right here, Clover Clash we did right here in March. But Phoenix Wrestling Experience is a new promotion, not new to wrestling by any means, is the people involved. Got a core group of guys. We probably got about 45, 50 years of wrestling experience between all of us. I've got about 24 myself, so definitely not new to doing this. We just kind of all came together with a good idea. Phoenix Wrestling Experience is a little different than normal indie wrestling. All of our shows concentrate on helping the community and giving back to the community. So every single one of our shows, part of the proceeds will go to a charity organization that is local to here in Augusta, or if we are traveling like we are on our brewery tour, we do it local to that city or community right there. So it's something that's been a history for me to give back while using wrestling. So that's kind of the root of that. So yeah, we're just trying to give it a little different polish. We're taking wrestling into breweries, taking wrestling into smaller, more intimate locations. Not trying to pack out arenas. That'd be nice one day.
Yeah.
But just trying to do a little smaller, more intimate show. And our shows are shorter. Most indie wrestling shows are 6 to 8 matches. We are 4 matches tops. Sometimes we will do 5 if we really feel like it, but we haven't felt the need so far. So 4 matches, 2 at the top, small intermission, 2 at the bottom. That's it.
Awesome.
Get everybody in and out real quick.
Cool.
Awesome.
So take us through a little bit of the inspiration. What inspired you to choose the Phoenix as far as that being kind of the namesake?
Phoenix is definitely multi-dimensional as far as that goes. Rising for the Ashes is a big thing for that. A lot of our guys, including myself, have been through some down and outs with everything, and whether it be wrestling or life or whatever. And most of the core guys that are with me and the ones I've chosen have come out of some kind of bad upcoming or just trying to find their way to shine and rise up. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of been the thing. And just a revive of wrestling in my opinion of just the way it should have been with people talking about it. We're trying to reach people where our marketing strategy and everything is different. We're trying to reach those people that aren't the typical wrestling fans. And so far it's working. Got a lot of people that show up to the brewery never watched wrestling before.
Awesome.
Definitely plus.
Awesome. So, James, let's talk a little bit more about yourself. What are your kind of like earliest memories of wrestling, and then how did you end up getting into the business?
Earliest memories is watching WWE with my mom. She was a big Shawn Michaels fan. So used to watch Shawn Michaels with her probably back in the 90s. and we would just watch it all the time. Thought it was a really cool bonding experience with my mom and my stepdad. And then that lasted a couple years or so, back and forth. And then my mom called me one day and she goes, "You'll never believe what your stepdad did." And I go, "Okay, what's that?" She goes, "You'll have to see it when you get here." And I visited on the weekends. He had shaved his head and found a wrestling school and was going to learn how to be a professional wrestler. I am a 13, 14-year-old boy going, "Holy crap, that is cool."
That's awesome.
So that was awesome, man. I just followed him around like the little kid I was and was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna learn how to do this." And I got into being a production guy and was running sound and running, just helping him, just doing everything I could, because everybody knows runs indie show. You got to have hands everywhere. I was a hand.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while. Then one show, a guy was like, "Hey, the ref didn't show up. You want to learn how to ref?" I'm like, I'm a 15-year-old kid at this point. I'm like, sure, I'll ref.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not? And then that lasted a couple shows, and they were like, "Hey, ref, can you take a bump?" I go, "I mean, I could try." Yeah. "Well, let's teach you how to take a bump."
Jeez.
And that was 24 years ago, guys. And I wrestled, and then now I'm a promoter. So it's full circle. It's crazy.
That is crazy, because that sounds like a story that would happen in the 70s, not the 90s.
Yeah, not in the early 2000s.
Yeah, like that's not how. Okay, that's
Southern wrestling, man. That was it.
Man, that's.
I mean, you gotta take opportunities where they come. I don't blame you one bit. Not one bit.
Yeah, I got in and did it, and I found some good schools after a while and learned how to do it the right way, and that kind of stuff. But I learned just by osmosis, setting up rings, and people showing me how to bump with big guys. And, "Hey, can you take this move?" Yeah, sure, I'll take it.
So one thing I've always been curious about, there's been more than a few guests on our show that have always said, it's all about keeping your ears open, asking questions where you can. For somebody that is, kind of new to these situations where they've maybe just gotten an opportunity, very happenstance, what are some of the things that they should be paying attention to? What should they be asking about? How can somebody help themselves when they find themselves in that situation, just so they don't feel too much like a fish out of water?
It was weird, and it's definitely weird. I got a couple of guys that have been following PWE around that are just, you can kind of tell they're out of place, but you just kind of find it. Just listen, man. That's the biggest thing, and I know that's probably more common for everybody, but just, you got 2 eyes and 1 mouth or 2 ears and 2 eyes and 1 mouth for a reason. Just listen and look and shush a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what a lot of people do. They try to put their 2 cents into it when they don't even know what the 2 cents are yet. I mean, it took me 5-10 years before I really, really understood what wrestling was, and really got it. And a lot of people think in 2 years that they can't. And I did. When I was a kid, I was like, "Oh yeah, I got this. I can do everything." Sure. Yeah, listen, man, and find a good, respectable elder to listen to, one that won't steer you wrong. Okay. That's something that we're trying to do with PWE is give mentorship to some new people, because it was hard to find when I was coming up. I mean, even back then, before me, it was even harder. But early 2000s, wrestling was kind of meh, and there was no uprising like it is now.
So we talked a little bit about your strategy for promoting these shows. Smaller card, smaller venues. What else are you guys doing to help promote these shows? That's kind of continues that outside of the box kind of mentality.
Well, yeah, different type of marketing, poster-wise. Some of the graphics are a little different. I mean, we're doing match graphics, but like even with the brewery tour, we're trying a different approach. Our flyers don't look like the typical wrestling flyers, and a bunch of dudes post up on the flyer. It's a bunch of action shots and some descriptive stuff, so that the everyday bar patron comes by and goes, "Oh, what's that? Oh, okay, that's wrestling. Oh, that's cool. It's like they got a bunch of people there. Oh, okay, cool." So that was a different strategy to do. Different video marketing. I got a really good media guy, Keith Andrews Media, does all my media, and he is amazing. So we took a different marketing plan with that to make it look kind of clean and polished and different things like that. And then we went into the polished approach with all of our look. I mean, from logos to skirts to entranceways, we tried to make it look. If it ain't WWE quality, it's still the polished look.
Sure.
Yeah.
And try to make it look a little different. And I think that's a different. It's been done in other ways, so we're not an innovator by that. But I think the combination of everything hasn't been done, and I think that's what we're kind of riding is a weird combination between wrestling and rock concert and something like that to try to get those different audience. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. So when you're promoting it, or let's just say with booking a card, let's start there. Knowing that you're not necessarily going to have a necessarily hardcore wrestling fan base that you're trying to appeal to, you're also trying to get in some of those broader audiences. What's the thought process when it comes to organizing a card, especially when you're only doing 4, maybe 5 matches at a time?
Good question. It is difficult. We do a little bit of a format. We do at least 1, maybe 2 multi-man matches to kind of get a bunch of people and see different faces. But one of the biggest things in booking it is characters. You got to have your characters that are very simple, very easy to follow. And if you got a person that doesn't know what wrestling is, you can't put a wrestler versus a wrestler and then expect them to kind of follow, if that makes sense. It needs to be a character versus another character, and then they kind of relate with it. It strips it down to like the old school mentality, but it has to be in a mix, clean, where you can see it. Because I mean, that's what we're seeing. You can bring in not to use my own self, but bring in a cowboy versus an Indian, and that gets over more with a non-wrestling fan than it does 2 wrestlers in singlets going at each other. And I have to tell some of the guys at a book, I'm like, hey guys, this crowd's different. They will pop and they will make noise off of a snapmare and a hip toss if you do it right. But if you sit up there for 5 minutes and chain, they're going to lose you. And they're not going to care anymore. So you kind of have to change it. And a couple of performers have already done that. They've already looked at me and go, yeah, that was weird. I couldn't do anything, but I threw them in the corner and then they went crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it's a different crowd. Because we're trying to reach a different crowd. They don't know what the difference between a headlock and a hip toss is. We got to teach them.
Yeah.
So that's been the cool thing, but also a little weird thing because you got to have to teach them what it is.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about this Georgia Carolina brewery road trip.
Yeah.
What does that look like? What do you guys have going on here? And then ultimately, what is kind of that? How do you get there? What are you looking to get out of it?
So I will tell you, this came organically. They contacted us, 2 or 3 of the breweries did, through seeing some of our social media posts and other people and seeing other breweries. So we kind of came together in the team, and I go, we could make this work. We could turn this into something that would, be something never done before. Traveling wrestling shows happen, but never on like a tour basis.
Yeah.
You don't think about that. There's just wrestling, come to this city, come to that city, come to that city. It's not ever all connected. So I was like, we could try that and see if we could do a tour. And then the root of it is to see if this works not only at Savannah River Brewery, but at these other breweries too. Yeah. And if we can do that, we signed on a 12-show deal here at Savannah River Brewery. So if we can do that at other places, then I can get this going once, twice, 3 times a month.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate goal, is to give people work. Because the ultimate goal for PWE is once we get established good, we're opening up a training school here in Augusta, Georgia.
Awesome.
So that's going to be a legitimate training school here that we can give to people. Because when I was coming up here, there wasn't places. There was guides you could go find, but not an actual school. And right now, even the closest places there's one in Columbia, South Carolina, and then there's one in Atlanta. But that's still a couple hours for all my guys around here.
Sure.
So just trying to do something there. And that's what we're hoping with the brewery thing, is get that out there, establish our brand, establish a different type of wrestling. And we work with other promotions. I'm good friends with a lot of other promoters. We use a lot of different talent. So like, we're not trying to step on their toes. We're trying to create a different lane, and we're going to go down a different lane. Yeah. So it seems, like I said, seems to be working. We're just going to ride it and see where it goes.
Yeah, it looks like, and we've got a graphic here of the dates you've got coming up this month. Let's see if it comes up here. I apologize that it's
Yep.
blocking you, James, but
No,
yeah,
you're
it looks
good.
like between
That's more important than my
April and
face.
May, yeah, we've got a number of great things you guys are doing. You can also find us at Phoenix Wrestling Experience on Instagram. One thing I'm dying to know is when it comes to the logistics of organizing a wrestling show, it's already a balancing act as it is. How does it differ when you are doing it in a brewery as opposed to a convention hall or a gym or a traditional, for lack of a better word, facility?
Mm-hmm.
Working with the space is definitely a difficulty. All the breweries come with their own challenges. The Savannah River Brewery actually has one of the most difficult challenges of the ones we'll be doing, besides the 2 shows that are potentially outside. But working with the space, but it also works with the space, if that makes any sense. Savannah
Sure.
River Brewery has a stage that we set up right beside, so we utilize that stage, and then they have the space that's right there by the bar, but we utilize that space too. So, like, if you've seen any of the videos or footage from us, our fans are right there, right beside the action. They're having to walk right through the crowd to get to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives a different experience to kind of work with it.
Sure.
So I like the challenge because it makes it different. Our entranceway got set up differently because of the space and tables we had to use. So we used the tables that they had as bar tables as part of our entranceway, and it gave a different fan experience because they could sit up, posted up on the entrance at a table with their beer and whatever they had and watch people come out. So
That's pretty cool.
So like I said, it has some caveats, but it also has some really good things that we can kind of work with. The one we're doing at South Main, we're going to make an entranceway out of kegs. They have the little smaller kegs, and he has a ton of them.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm making an entire entrance thing out of kegs. So that's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how that turns out. That just sounds incredible.
Yeah. So like we said, you've now kind of got this up and moving. Let's take you back to that first show. How hard was the sell, and then did that just spread like wildfire to everybody else, or was it also going to brewery to brewery trying to sell that as well?
So it was organic. A lot of this stuff just kind of happened, which is kind of crazy. So I'll tell you the kind of story. I was starting PWE last year. I was getting everything together. I was out there with an angle grinder, fixing my ring, getting all the stuff together, and doing all the stuff just to find a show. We had 3 shows lined up: October, September, and December. And those all shows got canceled, from logistics to all kinds of other crap. It just didn't happen. And I hooked up with a couple friends that had been coming over to the house and training and just, helping me set everything up and everything. And one of them came to me and was like, "Hey, you want to do a show in a brewery?" I was like, "Sure, I'll do a show in a brewery." "Where?" And he was like, "Downtown Augusta." I'm like, "That place ain't that big." And they're like, "No, it's big enough. If you got a 16-foot ring, it's big enough." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go check it out." And I went and talked to the guy. He'd been wanting to do wrestling. So I got lucked up that it was already in his head.
Yeah.
But whoever he had talked to before never got back to him, never talked to him about it. So the ball was already rolling in his head. He just didn't have anybody to pick it up. So we went over there and picked the ball up, just said, "Okay, we'll do this." And we didn't really know what to do. This is my first show of doing mostly completely online sales, because that's all they had done with events, was through different online mediums. So we went all online, except for door sales, whatever, cash at the door. And we had a couple of good guys. I got really good talent: Sean Legacy, Wade Adams, Drew Adler, all of them really good guys signed up for it. I've known them for a while, and they all helped me push it. They said, "Yeah, we're going to do this at the brewery." They were like, we got this. We know what we're doing. And I went door to door, man. I went all downtown Augusta, went door to door, putting up flyers, putting out sponsors, giving out cards. I was like, we got to make this work. A week into it, we had no ticket sales. I was like, all right, we'll see how it goes. And then we are probably 3.5 weeks out, and we started popping and popping and popping. And then we got a chance to be on the news. So we got to be on the local news and a morning mix in the morning, and I got to do that. It was supposed to be me and 2 other wrestlers, and it ended up being just me. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll just do it. And then that got popped, and then we popped
Yeah.
and we popped, and it just trickled. And by the time it was, I think the week before, we were at 50 online sales. And I'm like, boys, we made 50 sales. We're good. Like some places don't even get 10 people in the door. So we got to that. And right before we opened the doors, we were at 81 and had sold out all of our front row tickets, all our $20 VIP tickets that we did. So I was like, all right, well, we got to have somebody. And then they just came in waves. We were at right under 200 that first show. Wow. And I was blown away, absolutely blown away. So we had came up with the idea, let's sell the tickets we had asked him at the beginning, can we do a show now in February? And he was like, yes, do one in February. I'm like, all right, cool. February 1st. Cool. Thursday, said same thing. Cool. So we signed up. And then after Thursday, on that Thursday, the February 1st, we had already sold 120 tickets that morning.
Wow.
So we were doing fantastic. We walked up to him the day of, and I was like, can we do this 6 more times? And he goes, sure, we can do that. By the end of the show, I walked up to him after we had a bunch of people and everything, and he was ecstatic. I was like, can we do it at the end of the year? And he goes, yes.
That's brilliant. Right now. Love it.
And he doesn't know. Y'all are wrestling fans. Y'all know this. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know what that did to us.
Yeah.
To guarantee that many shows for the rest of the year sent us on a skyrocket that we are just going to ride, because that's amazing. To get 6 shows is amazing. So I'm extremely blessed. That is long story short on that one, but yeah, I'm extremely blessed.
That's awesome. Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about the fan experience here. Obviously, you're going to get a little bit of everything. When you're organizing a show that's going to take place at a brewery. How would you feel that your fan experience differs from a traditional wrestling show, and what do you do to try to cultivate your own unique identity for your fans to come and interact with the talent on the card?
Well, so besides the up close and personal experience, because we're a little bit closer than some cards, we do our Phoenix Experience tickets. So the front 2 rows. So it's like 38 that we can get into that brewery there. Other places we can do like 50. What we do is it's not only a VIP experience in front row. You get a premium autograph poster that they can get signed, little other swags that we give out. But we do a meet and greet after the event. So once it's all wrapped up, once you have those tickets, you come behind the curtain, the entrance curtain, into the back of the brewery. And we actually have all the wrestlers, heels on one side, faces on the other, set up. You come and meet everybody, meet the refs, meet the production people, whoever you want to meet, get autographs, get behind the scenes like they do at concerts. So you get to see people do whatever. If they're not quite ready, you get to see them come over and get ready. We have a changing room that's different, so they don't get to see people changing, so that's cool. But it just get a behind the scenes, like this is what it looks like behind the curtain. And a lot of fans have never seen that. So that's something different we do. Plus the food trucks that we partner with. We partner one right here in Savannah River, the Villa Wagon food truck. It's German food. I don't think I've ever been to a wrestling show that had German food at it.
Doesn't have either.
This German food is really, really good. And they do online ordering where you can just order before you even get there. And so you can get your food, walk up, get your ticket, walk up, enjoy the show. Dinner and a show. And you can't do good food like that you can, it costs you money, but at a big recreation center or gym,
sure,
it's not the same.
Yeah.
See, and then we do season passes. That's something we started for the brewery since we got okayed all the way down. We did season passes for the rest of the year. We made placards. I don't have one in front of me. I haven't sold them all. But we custom made them ourselves, made lanyards, everything. So with season passes, you got a exclusive PW t-shirt that we don't sell anywhere else. And then you got a lanyard, you got the tickets, you got some temporary tattoos, a bunch of other branded stuff. I mean, we threw it all in there. And a handwritten note for myself, because if you're going to pay that much money for tickets ahead of time and you're going to fund this, I'm going to give you a handwritten note.
Love that.
Nice.
Personal touch is important.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I try, man. This is my baby. I do this full time and hustle on the side to make my money. So that's it.
Yeah. No, and I love the old school heels on one side, babyface on the other side.
Yeah.
Like that's just that caught my ear. I'm like, oh man, that's
Yep.
awesome.
I try. We
Uh,
try to keep a little bit of the K word a
yep,
little
yep,
bit.
Yeah.
yep. Kayfabe's still alive, just a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's still there. It's still
It's
there.
only if you do it yourself. You got to keep it yourself.
That's true. That's true. Talk to me a little bit more. I guess not me, but both of us. Sorry, Eric. Talk to us a little bit more about the partnership with. Is it Skrunk? Shrunk?
Shrunk 3D.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So that's going to be
Yeah.
neat. They have agreed to partner our entire tour. So they're our big tour sponsor now. And they have done more than just partner with us. We are getting a little, what they do, just to give you an example of what they do, is they have a 3D printing basically company kind of thing where they will image you in a booth. It's like a trailer. It has like 290 something cameras and they take all kinds of pictures and they get you all the way to all the details and they can shrink you down to about this size or about this size.
Nice.
And
Hmm.
you can do that with anybody. You could go out there and get it done, do it like this. But what we're doing with PWE performers is we're getting those made to have them have their own figurines. So our roster, about 5 or 6 of us, the core roster guys, will have their own custom-made wrestling figurines that will have their own name on them with their signature, our logo on the bottom, and the Shrunk 3D logo on the bottom.
That's pretty dang cool.
It's going to be an exclusive thing to our performers, where other performers will be able to do it when they come and wrestle for us, and they'll get a little package deal that they can do. And there'll also be a thing at each event. The Shrunk 3D booth will be there. If you want to get a immortalized Shrunk 3D figure of you and your favorite PWE wrestler, you can do it. And we have it set up for a discounted price for that, and it actually helps out some of our workers and them. And so it's a good partnership. It's more than just a sponsorship.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool partnership that we can make something cool out of.
That's
And they're
awesome.
local too.
Man.
That's one of the things we work
Yeah.
on local. They're local here to South Carolina. The company's out of South Carolina, and the branch we work with is right out here of Augusta. So it's all local people doing local stuff, man. It's really good.
Man,
Fantastic.
now I want one. Damn it.
Yeah, oh yeah. You
Right.
wait till this come out, man. I've seen the preview. We're gonna launch them. I think next week or the week after. We'll have the actual commercial we're doing for them.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have our superstars in a commercial for them. So performers.
That's pretty
That's-
slick.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
As we wind down again, we just want to say thank you for joining us. But one last question for you: what impact do you think Phoenix wrestling has had on Georgia as a whole, at just the wrestling community, and then what impact are you hoping to make moving forward?
Well, so far, impact on the community is just show that we're reaching a different part of the community. There are 2 or 3 other wrestling companies here in Augusta that run shows, but I still have hundreds of people that come to my shows and go, "I've never seen wrestling before." And as long as there are people like that, that's why we'll keep going. Is because there's still more people to reach that don't watch wrestling, that don't go to these shows, and that's the kind of impact that we want to make here. And the other impact long term is to build a home here where we can grow wrestling here in this area and grow it the right way with the right people. Because we got a lot of good people here, we just don't have a place yet, and that's what we want to build. We want to build that home and that place. That, hey, you want to learn how to be a wrestler? You want to get in some good wrestling? You go to Augusta, Georgia, and you learn from those guys.
Yeah.
And that if even if it's not PWE, if that's what we can put here and help do that,
Sure.
then that's good. That's good by me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Good business. I like it. Before we go, we do actually have one more question. He happened to forget that we asked this to every guest that's
That's
on
why
our
I
show.
wasn't going to ask.
Well, I'm still gonna ask it. Okay, that's what we do on the show here, if I recall.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, James, very important question for you. It is WrestleMania season. When you hear the moniker Mr. WrestleMania, is it Shawn Michaels? Is it The Undertaker?
I have to say Shawn Michaels. My mom would probably hit me if I didn't. But I mean, I'll do the caveat. I'll say when I think of WrestleMania, I think of The Undertaker.
Fair. Yeah.
But I mean,
So-
Mr. WrestleMania is Shawn Michaels. I have to say.
Look, I will take that as a win because
Okay.
I will take that as a win for myself because
Okay.
if Mama wasn't going to hit you,
Yeah,
I think you'd go take
you
her.
don't live that far from me, man. I ain't dodging that frying pan. Ain't no way.
And I'm not mad at the Shawn Michaels answer at all, because yes, I don't want you to get hit. So
Yeah, it is, man.
Well, James, thank you so much for joining us. We cannot wait to see what Phoenix Wrestling does next. We're going to show this one more time, just the graphic of all of the
Appreciate
dates
it.
coming up between April and May. A lot of opportunities to get some tickets, get some swag, season passes as well. Where can everybody find you on social media?
It's at Phoenix Wrestling Experience. I know it's a long word, but spell it out. It works. Or phoenixwrestling.net. That's our website. It's a little easier to spell. It's got all the links to all the socials and everything on there as well.
Love it.
Perfect.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We can't wait to see what y'all do next, and can't wait to have you back on to hear all about it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank y'all.
No problem. No problem. For Cowboy James Hunter, for the podcast dad and Mr. Cincinnati, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Remember to hit that QR code, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting us. We will be back tomorrow with our last show of the week. Talk to y'all at 6:30. So have a great night.